You know, I knew from a very early age that I would somehow have a career in media production. I suppose it all began for me when I was 4 years old, on the day a local television station came knocking at our door to film my first day of kindergarten. They wanted to do a piece for the news that would remind people that school had started and that drivers should keep an eye out for the little kids. We trusted the media back then to do their part to help keep us all safe. We all know things change, but looking back at those days, there are two things that really amaze me. The first is that as a 4-year-old, my parents were perfectly comfortable with me walking every day alone through a pretty tough neighborhood, the half a mile or so to school. It's sad to know that those days are surely gone. Now we live in a world where every day we worry about the safety of those we love. The second thing that amazes me and saddens me is that the media, by that I mean television, radio, movies, the internet, and video games, all created with such great potential for good and for entertainment, now seem to have also become a real source of potential harm for our children.
I've worked with children and adults for 37 years. For a long time, I was concerned that the messages and the pervasiveness of media use was a negative influence for many of my patients. I saw children who were distractible, aggressive, resistant to directions and rules. These children were they were fatigued and were failing in school, and some of the research results increasingly supported my clinical impressions. But connecting these problems to media exposure was controversial. Aside from biologically based mental illnesses, experts would cite poverty, poor parenting, peer influence, drug use, and media exposure, again, as probable factors for problem behavior. And of course, it's true, any of those can be contributing factors. Well, 2 years ago, I saw a presentation by Dr. Douglas Gentile. And in one area of his research, Dr. Gentile and his colleagues have been able to investigate these several probable causative factors and analyze their relative size. In some of these studies, media was the most powerful of all the contributing factors. In other words, the powerful, destructive effect of media was startlingly clear. And that result was like a lightning bolt to me. It has led me to do what I can to let parents and others concerned with the welfare of children hear about these powerful negative effects of media use and exposure, and to offer ways that children and society can be more protected. Sadly, since this project has begun, we've had many terrible events that have connected violent acts and the use of violent video games in particular. The negative teachings of the media are like a virus, and it has become a public health problem, in my opinion. I have a sense of urgency about this educational mission. We have to say that the use of technology offers wonderful possibilities to advance our society, but we must also educate ourselves to its damaging effects as well.
There's this need and desire for parents to be increasingly effective, present, and relevant in their children's lives, and a frustration and a helplessness on exactly how to do it, and a competition between other influences that are currently in children's lives. Throughout all history, there's been influences upon children, but I think parents have felt until recent past that they could manage those. But with the 24/7 access to TV and media, cell phones everywhere you go, Facebook, all sorts of factors that parents feel very handicapped and sometimes helpless in having an impact on. Those are the type of questions parents are coming to me more and more about.
Parents often feel like they don't really have any power when it comes to dealing with the media. But the truth is very different. Parents are in a much more powerful position than they realize. Although there is a lot of research showing that the media have important effects on children's development, there's another body of research that's just as important. This research shows that when parents get involved in their children's media habits, that's a powerful protective factor for children.
It's been suggested that to win a battle, there are important elements that need to be considered. The first and foremost is you have to recognize that you're in a conflict, that you're in a situation. You can't simply ignore, put your head in the sand, and pretend that something isn't going on if you're going to win. I think we're at that place with the media, and I think it's our responsibility as people that work with children and professionals that work with parents, that we help them understand that yes, indeed, there is a battle going on, and the battle is for their children. I think the second important element, though, it's not simply to recognize that there is a battle going on. It's to understand who we're fighting against. And I would suggest to you, part of that battle, part of that enemy is media and technology. Not collectively, not all media and not all technology, but we have to recognize that there is an element out there that we have to address as parents so that our children can grow in character and conduct in a way that we desire. There is a third element. We have to recognize, A, that there's a battle, B, that there's an enemy, but most importantly, we have to be equipped with the tools, with the strategies in order to win that battle. And I think if we put those three together, we can have the impact, or parents can have the impact on their children that they greatly desire.
There are a lot of things that go into building a healthy child's brain. The media are just one of those things. And people are often surprised when they find out just how powerful that effect can be. For example, research on Sesame Street shows that not only does it do an excellent job of teaching children what they need to be able to enter kindergarten, but children who watch Sesame Street as preschoolers are still getting better grades in high school. That's the power of the effect and how long-lasting it can be. Now, once you understand that, you start understanding how other things can influence your children, such as media violence, or the effects on attention deficit problems, or on youth obesity. Because if you thought that Sesame Street could teach your 4-year-old something, you better believe that violent video games can teach your 14-year-old something. I believe that parents all want to do the right thing for their children. I think they want the best for their children. The problem is they don't always know what that is, and here's where science can help. The research actually shows us what makes for better parenting. But unless we get that information to the people who need it, they're continuing to just go with their gut. People are often surprised to find out how much research has actually been done on the media's effects on children. And they want the information. The problem is they don't know how to get it, because most of it sits in dusty academic journals. And so one of the things we need to do is get the information to the people who need it: parents, pediatricians, educators, policymakers, so that they can actually use it to make a difference in the lives of their children.
The time is now. Parents are hungry for this information. The research is out there and available to use, and we have ways through the media, through technology, to get this information to parents.
Many years ago, I created a curriculum for parent education. Parents loved it, but it was really cumbersome and difficult. Now, with the power of the media and how quickly it's changing, we can get information directly onto people's phones, get it directly to them through the computer, through their email, through YouTube. There are a lot of channels that didn't even exist 10 years ago. And now we can use that power to fight fire with fire.
Nash Grade School was torn down decades ago, and the empty lot, after years of neglect, has been reclaimed and turned into a beautiful park. Thanks to the hard work of committed men and women, the rest of the neighborhood too, after years of decline, is being rebuilt from the ground up, becoming a proud sign of renewal and hope. Now more than ever before, we have the vision and the power to shape our community for the better. This time, not just with brick and mortar, but in the hearts and minds of our children. We know that the media can be a powerful tool with potential for both good and harm. Parents are looking for help. Together, we can put the resources and tools they need right at their fingertips to create a loving, safe, and nurturing environment where each of their children can grow to their potential, live without fear, and at the end of the day, like it used to be, find their way home safe and sound.